3 officials have now been charged in the investigation into why lead-tainted water was supplied to the people of that city. 2 state regulators and a Flint employee are charged with evidence tampering and several other felony and misdemeanor counts related to the Michigan city's lead water crisis. Now, these charges were filed in court today. Reporters from WDIV, our affiliate in the area, in court at the time. The individuals are Michael Prisby, a district engineer for the Michigan Department of Environmental Quality, and Stephen Bush, who is a supervisor with that same department who focuses on drinking water, both charged with misconduct in office, conspiring to tampering with evidence and violations of water treatment and monitoring laws. Flint Utilities Administrator Michael Glasgow is charged with tampering with evidence for changing lead water testing results and willful neglect of duty as a public servant. The people of Flint, for nearly 18 months, were given lead-tainted water after the decision was made by a financial management and emergency manager put in place to oversee that city by the governor, Governor Snyder, who's also under fire for what's happened in this city. The residents have been drinking lead-tainted water. Children potentially could be impacted by this for the rest of their lives. And it wasn't until a whistleblower came forward and helped to provide some water samples and getting in experts outside of Michigan that this was fully revealed. Tony DeCopel is standing by. He has the latest. He's been following the story. So, Tony, we got word that charges would come down, and now we are seeing and hearing these individuals, their names, and the allegation that evidence had been tampered with in this investigation.
That's right, Tamara. And I can give you some more detail about these charges. Our affiliate WDIV was in the courtroom when they were unsealed. You read the charges. Mike Glasgow, he ran the water treatment facility here in Flint. He was responsible for treating the water coming out of the river behind me. It was supposed to have corrosion control in it. It did not, at the direction of the state, according to him. There was a moment when a red flag went up, and it was believed that lead content in the water could be of concern, and there was a period of testing. At that point, testing was supposed to be done on lead pipes, water coming out of lead pipes, to see if it was leaching that lead and flowing into the bodies, ultimately, of the people of Flint. Now, Mike Glasgow certified that the testing that he did was on lead pipes and that the lead was not in the water. We subsequently have found out through Freedom of Information Act requests that the testing he was doing, only 8 of the 68 were on lead pipes. So his results were not valid. Now, moving down the list there, Mike Prisby, he's with the state. He's charged with willful neglect. In addition to evidence tampering, his job was to make sure that the corrosion control, the treatment, was in this river water so that the lead would not come out of the pipes, would not get into the people of Flint. He told Glasgow, according to public documents already made available, that no phosphates were needed. And so Glasgow didn't put any in there. And then moving on to Steve Bush, who is Prisby's supervisor, he had a whole different perspective. When the EPA became concerned that there were elevated lead levels in the water, and when we say elevated, we mean really elevated. Leanne Walters, our guest in the last hour, her home had 40, 50, 100 times the legal limit, toxic levels of lead in the water. But when Steve Bush was approached by the EPA, which was concerned, he said, don't worry, we're doing the appropriate corrosion control, and we have had no irregularity in our testing. Now, the state has subsequently admitted that they made a mistake, they misread federal law, and that there was not the proper controls in this water, and as a result, lead was coming out of the pipes for 18 months, and that was flowing into the people of Flint. And you mentioned that it could affect the children of Flint. Well, there is good, solid research to suggest that it already has. Dr. Mona Atasha at the nearby Hurley Medical Center, she did research documenting a doubling and tripling in the percentage of children under the age of 6 with elevated blood lead levels above the level where you start to see learning trouble, behavioral trouble. So the repercussions are already are here, and it seems now today that the beginning of some sort of justice may also be on its way. Tamron, back to you.
And Tony, and just looking at, again, going back to these individuals named, Michael Glasgow, charged with tampering with evidence, changing lead water testing results there. We know that there had been a number of emails exchanged over concerns of the possibility of the lead leaching into the water. This allegation stands out for clear reason if these claims are true of actually tampering with the results. So that would indicate knowing of this problem, this potential danger, and if I'm reading this right, and you tell me, then not giving the proper results.
That's right, Tamron. You are reading it correctly. So the state at a certain point was required to test the water in Flint and certify that it was below 15 parts per billion. That's an indicator of safety when it comes to lead content in the water. They were doing the testing, and they threw out some high lead level results, which brought the number down, brought them within compliance. And then in addition to that, Mike Glasgow certified, he pledged that the testing that he was doing was on pipes that were made of lead, so that you could tell if lead was coming out of those pipes. Subsequently, it was discovered by one of the Michigan newspapers through a Freedom of Information Act request that those pipes were not, by and large, lead pipes, and the results were not valid. And in fact, that whole entire time, the city of Flint had elevated levels of lead beyond the federal limit where action was required.
All right, Tony, and obviously we're waiting for more reaction. We're expecting a news conference a little bit later today from Michigan's Attorney General, but it was at the beginning of this week that we were discussing Governor Snyder's, what some people saw as a stunt by him to say that he would drink the water to prove that it was in fact safe. We know that he still remains under many people want him actually to step down and want him investigated, or his office extensively investigated as well.
Correct, Tamron. I mean, there are as many as 15,000 lead pipes still in the city of Flint, and the water is flowing through them. And right now, the state is saying it's safe to drink that water if you put a filter on it. But confusingly for residents here, the city is saying, no, it is not safe, and all of those lead pipes have to be removed. But so far, there could be 15,000. They've only removed about 33. So there's a lot of work still to go here. The criminal charges are a step towards some sort of justice for the citizens of Flint. But infrastructurally, a lot of changes still need to be made to make sure that the next generation is ensured safe drinking water and low lead content, Tamron.
And Tony, back to the investigation. Even though these three people are the focus of this news conference and these charges right now, this probe, as it's called, is expected to expand. So this may not be the end here.
Oh, no, absolutely not. There are 5 individuals at the State Department of Environmental Quality who have left their position, to put it gently. 2 of them will be charged today. There are 3 more out there, including the person who was in charge of the Drinking Water Division, who was responsible for a plan for Flint and for ensuring that Flint had safe drinking water during this transition from Lake Huron, some of the cleanest water on Earth, and the Flint River, which is more corrosive water, flowed through those pipes and created a really toxic situation here in the city of Flint.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me, or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.